truly believe that we all have a unique thumbprint. For me, luck all by itself with no hard work is nothing.
Hello, it is entirely my pleasure and my honor to have the Mansi Zaveri with us today. I am grateful. Thank you. And let me introduce you to her. I don't even know if this is necessary. She is an influencer par excellence, and her reach is over 20 million people around the world. That's commendable, Mansi. I love you for who you are. You're a mom, an influencer, the yogi, the foodie, wife, and a friend whom I cherish.
Thank you so much. For everyone listening, I'm very stressed about my pronunciations. I hope I do not get anything wrong in front of moonlight.
Alright, so here I go. The first question for you. How did you first get started as an influencer? What inspired you to pursue this career as a path?
So honestly, when I started, which was almost 10 years ago, there was no career path called an influencer, right? We were all kind of just dabbling into different things. And for me, Ritu, I don't think I started with the vision to be an influencer. It was to serve a very solid need gap, which is to have to solve and bridge the gap on way Indian parents parent, right? We are a sandwich generation, which is learning how to parent from Google and also from our parents' way of parenting. And as Asian parents, we are very strongly rooted in the way we parent, right? And we don't want to somewhere let go of that. No matter what comes our way, we were still very rooted. So for me, it was like two sounds going on, two parallel tracks in my head. One, my mother telling me that feed the baby dal ka pani, and Google telling me feed apple sauce. And I was like, dude, I'm confused. I have no idea what to do. And I was like, if I'm confused, there must be so many other people who must be confused. Because all the international websites kept talking of things that were so alien. Like, we don't live in nuclear families. At least 10 years ago, that wasn't a concept that was so rampant, right? So I was like, India is a different cultural, social, physical landscape. I said, how are parents like me, who are full-time working parents, going to do this? So I think when you find your why, and the reason I emphasize is when you find your why, you know that this is what I want to influence in, right? When does a person become an influencer? When you want to serve and you feel there is a strong need gap and you feel like you can contribute, that why is so powerful that you want to keep fueling that why again and again and again. So 10 years ago, Mansi wanted to answer this question of applesauce versus dal ka pani. Today, that why are we just pushing our kids into this hamster wheel of perform, right? Or becoming a more conscious parent, or a career choices between 10 to 16-year-olds, or pressure for children. So I think that why will keep getting fueled in different ways. So I think there was no set career path, but I was very clear, and this I'd love to share, is that when you decide to be an influencer or a key opinion leader, it's very important that you quantify your time. Because I think most people just start on a whim and say, okay, I'm going to do this. Social media can be... There are three ways that our human brain functions, right? You think that, oh, I love the instant gratification. It's my fuel. I want people to know me, and I'm this social person, and I walk into a party and people are like, oh, that woman's one. For me, it wasn't that.
And I know her.
Yeah, and I know her, right? But for me, it wasn't that. For me, because I've been working with you since the age of 16, right? That is very clear. Time away from my kids needs to be monetized. Otherwise, there's no other reason why I was doing it. Because I was very happy doing a job and I could have continued to do it. But for me, it was very clear that this time needs to be monetized. So how am I going to? So have that vision and that pathway, that what is your why for influence also, and really what drives you. If the bit of social gratification and all of that's your fuel, that's great, but that's not going to pay your bills. So it completely depends on why you want to do what you want to do.
And the voice can keep changing.
The voice can keep evolving.
Evolving. I love that. And the whys keep you, focused.
Yes.
And you don't deter from.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think such a valid thing that you mentioned. People keep saying, and I love that you mentioned the focus, right? Because I stuck to that path. There were so many people who came along who pretty much started with me, and then they said, okay, I'll talk about parenting, and then I'll also talk about fashion, and then I'll also talk about lifestyle, and I'll also talk about interiors, and I'll also talk about this, and then I'll talk about jewelry, and I'll talk about everything else. For me, I was very clear. I was like, parenting has to be the filter. Even if I'm talking about a home solutions brand, my filter will be, how does this value add for the parent? If I'm talking about jewelry brand, it will still be about, what is it that why this jewelry brand will connect.
You'll always relate it somehow.
I always bring it back to my core and my why. If you don't do that, and especially in the business that I am in, you will never be, you may be many people's choice sometimes, but you won't be the selected or your core group's choice every time. And that's very powerful. If you drop me from a fashion brand campaign, I'm okay, it's not my core. But if it's a brand that is with my core, which is say toys, games, books, education, play, which is very integral, or health, or nutrition,
Children's writers.
Absolutely. If that is my core and I'm not part of that plan, then I'm troubled.
And you should be, because I think you are at the pinnacle, Mansi, and there's a reason. And when I see so many other influencers doing various, not to demean, but multiple things, I do feel, what's the purpose? What is the purpose of this page? And when we come to KSP, we just know it is about parenting, children related, period.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why I say that why will keep being your GPS again and again. So have that why plastered very clearly on your home screen, your computer, your vision board, because that why will keep bringing you back to your central lane.
Mansi, with everyone trying to be an influencer, what strategies did you follow to ensure that you're good at what you're doing and to establish yourself in your niche? What did you do?
Right, so you're absolutely right. Today it's all a numbers game. But for me, the key was I'm not chasing Ritu's numbers. I'm not chasing somebody else's numbers. They could grow on social because I think there's enough space for everyone. I want to stick to growing myself. Because the minute I get into the rat race of trying to outdo you and getting insecure about that, I'll stop doing me, right? So yes, you must chase the numbers, but you must chase the numbers in your lane and be ambitious and wholehearted, go aggressively after it. But I don't breed on insecurity because maybe I'm just very comfortable with who I am. Having said that, I think the strategies that we follow at Kids Stop Press when we're talking of social, and if anybody who's starting out or is looking to grow there, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, number one, start deprioritizing where you don't want to be, right? Which are the mediums which are not important for you. So it could be Pinterest, it could be Twitter, it could be Discord, it could be any of the platforms today. And you say, okay, I just want to stick to Instagram and I want to stick to YouTube. I don't want to even look at Facebook, for example. I want to think of only Instagram, YouTube, and maybe WhatsApp, right? I want to do that. So I would say go aggressively after, focusing on what you want to focus on, because otherwise there'll be too many distractions. That's one. Second is, how are you value adding to your user's life? Like when I follow Moonlight's page, I'm religiously saying I have a folder called Moonlight because it says, when I'm confused about certain pronunciations or I want to know about something, or I really like something, or I want to play back to my kids, I know I want to watch those videos again. And you're value adding to your customer's life, right? So I think value add is of tremendous, tremendous growth strategy, because today people then want to share it. If you found it useful, right? So that's number two. So how many people will find value and share that piece of content? Third is, how authentic can you be? Like, inauthenticity is exhausting. You will show up one day, you will show up second day, you will show up Thursday. The fourth day, people will figure it out. So really try and be your authentic self, because you cannot, like I said, I cannot be a Ritu cannot be a Mansi. So at some point in time, it will catch up and it will seem like a chore. And then you will move away from your why.
And it's just simply easier to be yourself.
Absolutely.
And when you're not pretending. But were you always like this, or you became who you are?
I would say the Mansi 10 years ago and who she is today has evolved, and evolved tremendously. But evolved for the good, right? Was I as aggressive, as ambitious, as focused on my niche 10 years ago? Yes, I was. Because otherwise I would have digressed much, much earlier on. I would say, acha, ye bhi karna hai, ye bhi karna hai, ye bhi. And earlier on in a stage of any influencer, because you want to make it run, you want the money, you want to make things happen, you want the visibility, you will do things which kind of take you away from your path, right? So you will do that. But that's the time again that you need to, come back, because that will also exhaust you. That will also be like, okay, this is not who I want to be, this is not what I enjoy. And exhausting to a point of burnout. I know so many people who've quit this space or who've left this space or just said, you know what, I need to take a break. Or they need to take a mental health break, which is absolutely okay. But maybe I've not found the need for that. It's also because I'm cocooned very well with my family, and I know that there are two separate lives I lead.
Mansi, there is so much we need to do, right? So many ideas. How do you segregate, separate, choose the most relevant, the most interesting, progressive, futuristic ideas? How do you pick them?
Okay, let me ask you that question back. How do you pick topics for your class? Each session that you do?
My topics must be relevant. If they are not, and if there's something very basic, and if they are redundant or taken care of at school, or the children can get access to it elsewhere, I will not do that. So I pick some things that are exclusive, and I know where you're getting at. I pick subjects and topics that are exclusive and not done at school. Futuristic, like I'm training my children for the real world, like 20 years later, not now, not present. And I know exactly what you're going to say.
No, so I'll be honest. For me, it is, again, I think it's very important to understand what your consumer wants. One is to know what you want, but the other is to also know what your consumer wants. What is your consumer struggling with, right? I know they're struggling, and it could not necessarily be my struggle. But it's about screen time, it's about discipline, it's about tantrum, it is about mental health, it could be about education. It's like, what do I do with my child? We have parents who write in, how can a father and child play? We don't know games we don't know how fathers can spend time with their child. Now, if I was coming from a space that, acha, mere ghar mein to ye sab theek hai, then I'm not helping that parent. I have to come again from a place of my customer is not me, right? It's only then will I be able to serve them. Because if I'm assuming that it's me, then I'm going to live in this South Bombay bubble. And I keep saying this, South Bombay is not my world. I want to look at the world as my world. I want to look at the world for its platforms. So again, what is the problem that the customer is going through, or my reader is going through, the parent is going through? How can I serve them? What will be the best possible medium to serve them? So can I just talk? Can I just point? Can I just speak and I don't need to do a video out of it? So can they just listen to me? Or do they want to read about it? So that also helps me decide which medium I want to actually pick and which medium will best help me serve them at that point in time. So it has to be that. And I don't, and again it comes back to not coming from a space of judgment. अरे इतना सा नहीं मालूम है. You know, if I came from that place, then I'm already setting myself here,
Yeah.
which is coming from a place of superiority. Then I will never be able to be with them. I want to be with them. I don't believe I'm superior. Because if that gets into my head, I will always look down upon them and not treat them as equals. And I practice the same principle even with my children, right? Like the minute you bridge that distance, you bridge communication and most important, connection. I mean, people sometimes tell me I'm not very aspirational.
They say that.
Simply because when they meet me in person, they feel like shit, she's just the same, she's no different. And that makes me less aspirational. I've never actually said this before, but because I am just the way they see me or they thought I would be, or
They're
I
not
don't,
in awe of you, is that what you're saying?
they think I don't have too much air, or I don't, I don't like have too much attitude or whatever.
And they expect that.
And they expect that. And when that expectation is not met, I become less aspirational. Or I'm okay with a lot of things. I'm okay being seen.
So real, Mansi, what you're saying.
And I'm okay to be seen in the same outfit. And I keep saying that. And you're not following me for my fashion sense. That could be one added plug. But I'm okay to repeat my clothes because I believe in conscious living. I'm okay to be eating in a chandi ka thali. I'm okay to be eating with my hands. I'm okay to be sitting down and eating because that's who I am. That's what I believe. That's what I believe in. Okay, so I am going to do that. So people will be like, oh my god, like she eats like nachni ka roti and tuwar ka sabzi and like blah, right? I don't eat like fancy ass salad or whatever. But that's who I am, and that's why I'm not seen as sometimes very aspirational for many.
Sadly, but there is a reason I am not interviewing somebody else and I'm interviewing you, because you are real. You are real, you are relatable, and I think every mom that follows you believes in you. And thank you for being you. Mansi, so what's a typical day as an influencer in your life? What do you do?
So every day looks different, I must confess. But for me, and everybody who follows me knows that I am obsessed with exercising. It's my happy hour. Like everybody in the house knows that if she hasn't got her happy hour, she can be grumpy. So even my kids, my husband, everybody will be like, Mom, I think you should just go exercise, and I'll just be on a happy planet, right? So that's typically who I am. I wake up at like 4:45, 5. I'll journal, I'll meditate. I will then head out to the gym or yoga or whatever else that I'm doing, and I'll come back and then I'm in the kitchen prepping for dabbas for my girls. I wake them up. Send them off to school. I'm at my work desk at typically about 8:30, and I work at about 8:30 to 4. I take a break from 4 to 5:30 till the girls are, they've just about come home, and then again, when they're busy with a class or whatever, I'll finish the balance work between 5:30 to 6:30, and that's it. And then I'm with them, or I'm in the kitchen, or I'm doing something, or I'm reading, or I just headed down for a walk with friends, and then we all eat dinner by 6:37 again, and then post dinner we're just like either watching TV together or we're reading, and I tuck my kids to bed every single evening, and again I read and I go to sleep by 9. I am literally like clockwork, and I can do this rinse repeat every single day, 6 days a week. And when I am shooting, I kind of, and I've shared this before, so for anybody who's looking at creating video content or audio content or whatever, I have these days that I demarcate as creative block days where I don't have any meetings. I'm not seeing anybody because I just need to be in absorption and release mode, which means I'm reading a lot and I'm writing a lot. And I'm like, functioning literally like I'm scripting, I'm writing, and I'm literally absorbing and releasing, right? So that's typically one day of the week. And the other day of the week, I'm like batch producing content. Like I'll shoot at least 30-40 videos a day.
Wow, that's great.
But that's also because I have, now I have a team, and the team will, I'll share the insight. They'll kind of write it down, and in my head I've already visualized it, how I want it to be, what the mother is facing, what's the problem she's facing, and or the father is facing, and literally it's broken down to the T. So we do enough prep before we need to. Sorry, Tanya, can you just check my phone? I think my mom was calling. So it's not stopped recording. Yeah. So that's how typically I program. I batch create a lot of content because I can't be, I can't get into creative zone, shoot zone and the numbers zone all at the same time, right? So I have different days for different things. So literally, like, people might feel like, oh my God, she shoots every single day. But no, I will shoot like 1 day or 2 days a week for 50, for the next fortnight, and then I'm done. Because I enjoy reading a lot more and watching a lot more than actually producing a lot more.
What do you read? What do you like to read?
So I read a lot of non-fiction. So you'll see me reading a lot of Rick Rubin, you'll see me reading a lot of Adam Grant, you'll see me reading a whole variety. I read a lot of nutrition, food, fitness, which comes out of passion. You'll see me reading a lot about children's and children's psychology, child psychology, parenting. You'll see me read a lot about humans and why we behave the way we do. A lot of consumer psychology. You'll see me also read a lot about digital, social. You'll also see me read a lot about creative processes, productivity. So a very, very wide variety, but largely non-fiction.
Are you ever worried about sharing too much with other influencers?
No. I'm, like I said, I'm very secure in my space, Ritu. In fact, I created a course for a lot of smaller entrepreneurs to start their businesses because during COVID, because I thought that it was very overwhelming for them, that all could flourish and thrive in COVID if they had the Instagram access. So I literally laid down the cards of how you should go about doing it, how you should plan your Instagram content, figuring out your why, figuring out how you could batch produce content. I share all of it on Instagram. Why? Because I truly believe that we all have a unique thumbprint. What's mine is not yours. And that's why we all have a unique thumbprint. You can have all my knowledge, but you still can't be me. And why should you be me? Because you're you. There's only one you. So I'm very, like I said, I'm very secure in myself.
Mansi, here's one personal question. How has being an influencer changed your perspective on social media and its impact on society?
So I think social media is a very powerful tool if you use it the right way. If you use it to learn, if you use it to empower, if you use it to share, right? And I am a huge social media junkie. But I also know it's a time guzzler. So I have time blocks where I can give myself access to check it. But I think because you have the ability to influence, you need to choose that power very, very wisely. It's like you hold a nuclear weapon, right?
I love this metaphor.
You need to know that you are, even if it's, and Ritu, it doesn't matter whether you have 150k people or a 25k people or a 25 people. I mean, think of it, if you have the power to influence, to have 25 people fill a room, 100 people fill a small auditorium, 500 people fill a cinema hall, 50,000 people fill a football field. Everything is influence. So I don't take that word lightly, right? So no number is small for influence, right? So therefore I take this very, very seriously, and I spend a lot of time on what I want to share. Where even with my team, even if they spend hours, and my team's right here, they're shooting, I can be ruthless because I'm not serving my team, I'm serving the parent. Even if you spend 10 hours working on a piece, but it's not worth 2 minutes of that customer's time or the reader's time or the parent's time, whose time is most important, because I think parent is the busiest person in the world.
Oh yeah.
If it's not serving them, don't put it out. Because, like I keep coming back, who's your God, right? The brands will come and go. Your customers will stay with you. So when you're choosing brand partnerships, when you're deciding what I want to share, how you're using this sword, this nuclear weapon, is very important to say that, am I still serving them? And when you come from a position of I want to serve, right, you will not use it lightly. You will do your best to make sure that it strikes right. I mean, think of it, Ritu, you teach such vulnerable minds, right? They're absorbing everything that you're saying. They treat you as their bestest friend, right? They share with you. They know what Moonlight is sharing is gold, right? You have the power to influence such tender minds. And sometimes parents are not even watching if it's an online class. The child is just doing it independently. You take the class so seriously.
Yeah. I'm responsible.
Yeah. Nobody's checking in on you. But you're still serving because it's in your gene to be authentic, to serve, you're taking the responsibility, you're taking the charge. And that honesty will show through.
It does, and I do take my job very seriously because every word, like you said, every word that I speak matters to the children who are absorbing like sponges, and they're going to hold me for that.
Yeah.
And I'm responsible for their future, and I think every influencer in this world has to be very watchful of the word they pick, of the brand they suggest, because it matters.
Absolutely.
Mansi, what advice would you give to a budding influencer?
Be authentic, understand your why, like what do you want to share? What would you want to share even if no one paid you for it? What is it that would be your lane? Because that will help you stick to your lane. Number 3, don't worry about competition. Just make a plan and just be consistent. And consistency always pays off. So I would say just these 4 or 5 things.
Just dress up and show up.
Show up every single day. It's work. Don't take this profession so lightly.
Mansi, so many people, regular people, seem that the life of a celebrity and an influencer is glamorous and wow, and we feel that we are separate from y'all. And so many influencers and celebrities are going through so many mental issues because the life of the influencer is deceiving. You don't know what's going on. Everything that you see on Instagram is Instagram live, and it's not real, most likely. And what would you say to budding influencers about not getting affected by this, insecurity that influential marketing and influencers comes with?
So I think it's a great question, Ritu. It's so pertinent at this point in time. And I feel one of the biggest reasons that kind of kept me grounded and sane was, again, family. I think just knowing that, no matter who I am on camera, on stage, wherever I'm speaking, or on Instagram, I have 2 little children to sort of go up to, who will pull me down to being a mother, right? I will still be cleaning poop and holding puke in my hand. And I think because I started at that stage, it just kept me grounded. Like, I'm telling you, they can rip you to shreds sometimes. You're a mother, you know how it is, right? You can be having the best day at work and your daughter just said, "Mom, I don't like you."
Yeah.
And it can be so hurtful,
It can.
right? Or you fail to send a geography project and you're like, shit, I'm the shittiest mother on earth, right? So, that groundedness that came from there has just helped me stay on earth, right? And also the right partner, the right family, right? And the right set of friends. because they keep you grounded. And I think and you're absolutely right that, I know so many people, who are in the profession and are seeking help, which is great to ask for help. But let's understand why are they reaching out for help, right? Because they're beginning to believe that this is permanent. They're beginning to believe that this is the whole them. And I'm very clear, and I hope it helps everybody who's listening, this is a part of me. This cannot be the whole me. Because then I'm chasing up against a dead end. Because nobody can be permanent. And the minute you start believing that I am permanent, you will cease to exist. Relevance is greater than permanence, right? Because if you continue to be relevant, you will automatically.
You'll still have shelf life, otherwise.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
it's so ephemeral and it's so like fleeting success.
Absolutely. And also I again think that just my spiritual practice, I'm just being a student, Ritu. Just being a student for life. Whether it's with sports, whether it's with learning, because you realize your place is here, right? And there are always going to be people above you. I think the spiritual practice has really kept me grounded. And for everyone who's watching, you need to understand you're seeing a very real life of people. That's not their whole life. The real life is starkly different, right? Yes, we get angry. Yes, we get cranky. Yes, we sometimes cannot manage our emotions. Yes, we need a lot of help. Yes, we show up late. Yes, we don't reply to WhatsApp messages. I mean, if you ask my friends, they'll be like, just pick up the phone and call Mansi, because you don't know if the WhatsApp message will get responded in 24 or 48 hours. So yes, we slack on things. But the truth is, and they will, you have to have these set of friends and family who will
bring you down
and pull you out of nowhere. Even if you cancel on them the 24th time out of the 25th, they'll still dial you up for the 25th time. So the minute you cocoon and shield yourself with people like this is when you will start being sane. And I think, again, even with your partner, I think it's so important to treat people as equals. Because they're good at their job, you're good at yours. Your job just happens to be something which is in the public eye. That means nothing. That literally means nothing. So I think the minute you have respect and love, and respect more importantly, for the other human, you will automatically have stronger relationships and better mental health issues.
It's just brilliant to be having known you, to get to know you more each time, each day. For the fact, just cut, I'm talking rubbish, I'm talking from my heart. For the fact that, every time I need you, you're there. I mean, who am I? For you to say yes to irrelevant things. This interview may not matter to you, but it matters a lot to me, to my audience, and to the little ones who might become influencers. I know that they will learn to be genuine and to continue to just be them.
I don't know what else to say. You're very sweet, you're very kind. I feel very awkward listening to this. So sorry about this. I don't know how to react. But genuinely, thank you.
For parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kids Talk Press now.